It's The World This Week, 7 days, 4 Paris-based correspondents, 1 hour. The World This Week in partnership with The Daily Beast. Foreign editor Christopher Dickey is with us. How are you, sir?
Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Glad to have as well Mira Kamdar, editorial writer for the International New York Times.
Good to be here.
Nice to see Anne-Elisabeth Moutet, columnist for the Sunday Telegraph.
Very glad to be here.
And Judah Grunstein, editor-in-chief of World Politics Review. How can one see World Politics Review?
At worldpoliticsreview.com.
Okay. The World This Week, where you can join the conversation on Facebook and Twitter, hashtag World This Week. 7 days ago, in this very same studio, we were contemplating the prospect of Hillary Clinton pulling away from Donald Trump in the home stretch. That was 7 days ago. In other words, 7 news cycles ago. Now, polls suggest it's a dogfight. While her rival was speaking in New Hampshire, the Democratic frontrunner a little earlier, campaigning in Pittsburgh, she was already losing ground last Friday when the FBI director announced his bureau's interest in a fresh batch of emails that concern her. Now, it's if in a state-by-state election measured by the Electoral College, 538 electoral votes, the latest Real Clear Politics poll of polls still has Clinton ahead. However, it sure is close. And when you look at the website's latest configuration without toss-ups, it's even closer. They're putting, for instance, there Clinton winning Florida. Not sure that that's going to happen necessarily, or North Carolina. It's very close in both of those states. We've been talking about whether polls matter or don't matter, or whether they are effective or not effective. Christopher Dickey.
Well, the polls matter, but the national polls like that don't matter so much. They're giving you a broad view of the horse race. What we see now with the candidates is that they're looking at very granular polls. They're looking at little districts, not whole states, parts of states where they think they can make a difference. They can go there, they can get sometimes just a few extra votes, maybe a few hundred, maybe a few dozen extra votes, and in doing so can pull the electoral votes of that state over to their side of the chart. It's a close race. It's closer than we ever thought it was going to be.
And that is the $64 million question. Why is it so close?
Well, partly because there's a group of people in the FBI who are actively conspiring to keep Hillary Clinton from being president. And I'm
seriously.
I'm serious. I'm serious. It's very clear. It's been very well documented now that there's a group of people in particularly the New York office of the FBI who think that Hillary was engaged in some kind of criminal or punishable activity and that she should have been prosecuted for it. And as a result, they, in the name of protecting secrets, are leaking secrets about the investigation. I don't think that's a mystery anymore. I think that's very clear. It's been reported by the New York Times, by Bloomberg, by lots and lots of different media. And I think what we're looking at essentially, I'm not talking about Comey. I'm talking about a rogue element within the FBI itself that essentially was blackmailing Comey. You see, he's got a lot of defenders. Comey is the director of the FBI. He's got a lot of defenders who say, what could he do? But that argument is based on what logic? The logic is that if he had tried not to say anything, these guys, these FBI agents, were going to leak the information anyway.
Before the election.
Before the election.
There's also something else, is that we still don't know anything about the emails that they found. We don't know if they really do concern Hillary Clinton at all. They haven't been searched yet. They just got the search warrant recently. And so a lot of the problem that this introduced into the campaign for Hillary Clinton is the fact that it's innuendo that just sort of reawakens this lingering sense that people had that she did something wrong.
And Trump is a candidate who builds his whole campaign on innuendo,
and
not on facts.
He seized it and ran with it. I would just add, and not disputing anything that Christopher said, and also not at all suggesting that, how can I put it? This, I think, for instance, I can only imagine Barack Obama thinking to himself, put me in there, I would be destroying this guy in a head-to-head campaign. So I think that there is something to be, you can't ignore the fact that Hillary Clinton, for all her qualifications, for all the experience she has, she's not a good candidate. there's the old saying that you campaign in poetry and you govern in prose. Hillary Clinton campaigns not only in prose but in deep bullet points and in ways that just don't connect with voters. And you add to that the fact that she's been in the public eye for almost a quarter century now, and people generally just don't like her. There's all the baggage of the Clinton years and all of the sort of high stress scandal era that people really are. It's really divisive. So I think that not at all ignoring the fact that yes, I think that there is a lot of politically motivated leaking going on, and yes, Donald Trump is a very frightening candidate, but. She should have been able to close the deal, and the fact that she hasn't, I don't think it speaks to her qualifications, but it speaks to the fact that people don't connect with her.
I just want to finish on this point about the FBI. Newsday cartoonist Matt Davis still digesting last Friday's FBI surprise, likening it to a man yelling fire in a crowded movie house, or in this case, potential fire in a crowded opera house, just as the fat lady is singing. Do you agree, Mira Kamdar, with that assessment?
Well, I mean, there are two very different things going on here. I mean, I agree with what both the guests have said. She's a deeply unpopular and not a great candidate, and it shouldn't be such a close race against someone like Donald Trump. But what has happened with the FBI is very, very serious. I think it's as serious a threat to American democracy as what Trump is unleashing in terms of the hatred, the racism, in terms of what Republicans are promising to do should she be elected, basically paralyze the government, initiate impeachment proceedings, refuse to confirm any Supreme Court judges. I mean, we're witnessing a kind of full throttle attack on some of the foundational aspects of American democracy that are very, very worrying. And that's far more worrying to me than who doesn't like Hillary or if she's a weak candidate.
Elisabeth Moutet?
I think I don't think that the way you comment about this is very different from the way it is being commented in the what is called on Twitter by Trump supporters, the mainstream media, but basically saying this in the way you're saying it. And calling the last-minute surprise, which was very probably ill-intentioned, treating it in ways of all the conspiracy theories that you despise so much from the other side, is actually, in some parts, probably not among our viewers, but in some parts, absolutely feeding the pro-Trump movement. Because the idea that this is the apocalypse and that Hillary Clinton should be absolved from anything because she is the last rampart for American democracy, which could be explained in terms that are not so sentimental, is actually destroying her candidacy. And I totally agree with Judah. She's a very bad candidate, and she's such a bad candidate, actually, that I used to live in America when Bill Clinton had been elected, and he asked his extremely bright wife to organize National Health Service for America. That was the first attempt to have national health care for America, and it was a much better plan than Obamacare, and she pushed it. She had studied very well. She's a hard worker. She'd gone to Germany to learn how a system that is in the black functions. And she came back and she could not sell it. And everybody said, oh, she's been blocked at every turn by the Newt Gingrich house. But that was not the case. The case was that she could not convince anyone of anything, even something very sensible. She doesn't know how to do deals. She, if you remember Reagan and Tip O'Neill, you could work with somebody who was not on your side of the aisle. She can't. So that's a real case. But the way of defending her in this sort of blanket thing of saying that there are conspiracies against her and it is going to be the apocalypse if Trump is elected, it pushes many of the Trump voters, and not just the silent majority, the people from flyover country, the hillbillies described by W.D. Vance in Hillbilly Elegy. It doesn't just put these people who will be for Trump just to annoy everybody else, but it pushes other people who say this is no reasonable way to wage a campaign. And what's really bothersome about this campaign is one candidate is certainly deplorable, to use the expression that harmed so much Hillary Clinton when she used it, but the way she's defending herself and the way her partisans are defending her is incredibly deplorable as well. I wish you would see that.
I'm sorry.
But I think there are really two distinct issues here. I mean, one, I'm not defending her as a great candidate. She's a lousy candidate. She should have, and I said that, she should have been, had an easy lead over a candidate like Trump. So that's one thing. But there's a different set of issues here, which is the kind of attacks or erosion of certain foundational institutions of American democracy, which I think is of great concern. And this conspiracy in the FBI is not a thing of
Is it a
theory.
conspiracy?
Yes, I think it really is. It's been very, very well documented. And these people were very close to Rudy Giuliani. And if you read some of the detailed reports that have come out in the last 48 hours, you will see exactly the chain and things that were said on Fox News that the day before by Giuliani saying we have a surprise, and the guy in the New York office who was very close to him. I mean, it's really all been very well documented. So I mean, but that doesn't mean that's the reason one should vote for Clinton. What I'm saying is there are really two kind of things going on here, and I'm very concerned less by the quality of Clinton's candidacy than I am by the other things.
I think where you square that circle and where both of those are very consistent is that saying that Trump is dangerous to the system is like catnip for his supporters, because a lot of his supporters want to break the system. Yes. They're not electing a president to use the system in the traditional ways that we think of an elected president. They want to throw wrenches into the machine. These are people who feel like the system hasn't worked for them or has been used against them. So
and it has.
And
it
so,
hasn't. Yes.
So I agree that it is dangerous what's happened, and yet that isn't the argument that's going to actually make Trump supporters think twice about whether they want to push the button.
They were always in that position. This is not new. I mean, it's not like because we're talking about the FBI conspiracy, that's going to force people to vote for Trump. Oh, hell no. The people that Judah's talking about, they always wanted to throw a wrench in the system. That's exactly what Trump is promising to do. He comes on, he has no concrete plans. Anytime you ask him about anything, it's terrific, it's great, it's magnificent,
I'm
it's
not defending
huge.
Trump here.
Oh, yes, you are.
No,
You're
I'm defending
saying,
the people who
no,
vote
yes,
for
you
Trump,
are,
and that
Alison.
is a very
No.
different matter.
Oh, no.
They've got the
Wait a
wrong
minute.
candidate. But
You
the
got to
people
ask
who
yourself.
defend Trump have got very good reasons to defend
Really,
Trump.
what are their
Because
reasons?
they have been basically gibed by the system for the past 30,
How's
40
that?
years.
How's that,
because
Elizabeth?
and Jeffrey Sachs is on my side on this one.
Well,
if you've
what
read,
gets specific,
which is that
Elizabeth?
basically globalization has only benefited. It has benefited America as a whole. It has not benefited poor and working class people in America, what America calls
You mean
the middle
white
class.
guys?
Does it matter? That is just as
Well, I
racist
think
as
it
saying
does.
black guys.
I think it does matter
And
if
it's
you're
not-
looking at the
if you
demographics
look
of the
at
vote.
if you look at all the cities in the Ozarks, in the Appalachians, in Ohio, in Kentucky, in those places, not only was the Rust Belt industry has disappeared, and then the car making industry has disappeared, and now all the rest.
And what is
disappeared.
Trump going to do to fix that?
He's not going to fix anything.
Oh, well,
It's
then what's
terrible.
the point?
I lived in New York in the
if I may-
1980s. I remember his wrecking the bas-reliefs on the Bonwit Teller building the day after they were listed by the Landmark Commission because he wanted to build his horrible Trump Tower in place of that landmark. I mean, he's a spiv and he's a crook, and I'm not going to defend him or vote for him or anything. But I am saying that despising his electors is a huge mistake. You have people who've been not only downtrodden but told to like it, whose lives have been wrecked, whose children's lives have been wrecked, and who are just said,
But
taking
he's not
your bite, you are
offering any
finished.
solution
And
for
what
that.
they remember
And at the
was
same
Clinton
time-
and Obama saying these are people who cling to their guns and their religion, and they feel despised, rightly so.
At the same time, I think, again, to square the circle, there are two threads that have been going on with the Trump campaign, and the big debate about people observing it is which one is the dominant trend. One is this argument that it's globalization's losers, the ones who lost out in the disruptions that globalization affected upon Western countries, even though most of those changes in terms of industry began well before the period of free trade. The second argument is that this is the last sort of death throes and the last cry of an electorate in the United States, a demographic that used to run the United States. You used to be able to win the United States presidency.
White trash never ran the United States.
Let me finish my point.
Never.
Let me finish my point. You used to be able to be elected president if you won a majority of white men, period. And that's no longer the case. You need a broader coalition that includes minorities, that includes...
But yet he's neck and neck.
Well, that's where so that's a more of a racial issue. Now, let me finish.
Most of the racial
problem
issue.
is that,
I want to say this.
Let me
Race
just finish
in
what I'm
America
saying,
most
please,
of the
Anna
time is a
Elizabeth.
class issue, and you don't want to see that.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm
If
not
the
saying that I
demographics of the
disagree
vote
with you.
showed that,
but
Anna Elizabeth, we buy on to
I
it.
think they do.
But
The
they don't.
demographics of the polling shows that it's a combination of both. There are plenty of globalization's winners who support Trump.
Okay.
And that's a racially motivated issue, whereas there are also poorer people who support him, and that's an economic issue. It's not exclusive. The polling doesn't show one thing or the other exclusively.
And if I could just make one quick point, because I know we have other issues to discuss in the world tonight. Bernie Sanders raised a lot of the same issues that you've just evoked, but he ran a very different kind of candidacy, and there weren't these kinds of issues around his candidacy. So I don't think it's just I don't think it's just that this demographic is willing to throw wrenches into the system. The kind of violence that we've seen unleashed by Trump at his rallies, the kind of hatred, this threat to have white supremacist militias, guarding polling places and checking voter IDs, challenging voter registrations, these kinds of things. I mean, this is very, very disquieting.
It is disquieting.
it's
I'm not defending him, whatever Christopher thinks.
It's not just about race, it's also about gender. Monday was Halloween, a chance for comedian Samantha Bee to ask Barack Obama what the equivalent of "you're not really born in the United States" would be for a President Clinton.
She's tired, she's moody, she's being emotional.
There's just something about her.
There's something about her. When men are ambitious, it's just taken for granted. Well, of course they should be ambitious. When women are ambitious, why? That theme, I think, will continue throughout her presidency, and it's contributed to this notion that somehow she is hiding something.
Anies Bitmoute, you agree?
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, has this race told us something? We thought we were in 2008 entering perhaps a post-racial society, and what about a post-sexist society?
I didn't think we were entering a post-racial society, because I think it goes much deeper in America, and I certainly do not think it was entering in a post-sexist society anytime soon. But I will say this, it's perfectly true that the level of accusations that are thrown at Hillary Clinton has been disgusting. That is quite true, and I don't think it's so much done by the white supremacists in the center of the country. I think it's been done by very slick pollsters working out of Washington.
And again, it's neck and neck. The race is close.
It's very, very close. Neither of them right now has the necessary 270 electoral college seats locked up. But the last I saw, and correct me if something's changed in the last minute, but Hillary Clinton had about 226 seats that were more or less locked up, and Trump had about 164 seats. And that middle ground, as Christopher was saying, is where they're going after these small numbers of votes to try to close that gap.
To try to close the gap. A final footnote on the race when we come back. You're watching The World This Week.